I feel like Job, right? That I literally lost everything, and hit that bottom point in my life and could look back and it's like, it's all gone, and I'm 50 something years old. And it's like, I literally have nothing to show for my entire life, and then I surrendered it all to God. I was always 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but I finally surrendered it all to him. And now I'm in the greatest season of my life.
My goodness.
We should start.
Everyone's excited because the fast is over. That's what this is. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Cornerstone Conversations. My name is Trevor. I am here with the beautiful, the wonderful, the drop dead gorgeous. When he walked in here, I couldn't keep my eyes off of him, Mr. Larry McCall. I told him when you came in, I said, man, you look good. Looking great. Just...
Well, you said you'd call me after the new year and we'd have lunch. And
well, I didn't want to rush into it.
I'm still waiting, so that's why I thought I'd just show up.
There you go. There you go. Also, we have
Josh.
Okay. And then, as always, straight from Palm Compton, sitting here with us all, freshly moved into the F section, Mr. Dylan Para. Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Sir, yes, sir.
So we're going to jump in. Obviously, a little bit of a different day today. Excited to have Larry with us as well. But we're also going to soapbox. And mine's going to be vague. Okay. It's going to be short because I'm not trying to take sides. But I just, for the first month, paid my new property taxes.
Okay.
And that was an adult moment that I was not prepared for.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand. And like we're very like budget minded. Felicia works for an accounting firm. So she's a junior accountant going for the CPA. Thank you, Jesus.
Let's go.
So everything's budgeted. And I was like, whoa, how do we go over budget? It was like, oh, the property taxes. I said, there's no way they went up that much. And they did. So glory to God. That's my first world problem of the day. That's why I'm a soapbox. I'm going to leave it at that because I'm not trying to get in that discussion. But What about you, buddy?
I like to actually use it since it was built.
He's soapboxing about me not using the soapbox.
Yeah, I hate it when people on the show.
Not this one, of course.
All right, forgive me, everybody, because I feel like when I soapbox, I'm either soapboxing about traffic and driving,
or NASCAR, or the
football.
Dolphins.
Yeah, or just have I done NASCAR?
Yeah, you let it fly one time.
Yeah. The door, the number not being in the center of the door, and the one single lug nut thing. Blech. I think I just vomited in my mouth a little anyway. So
I know. I softballed that one up.
Yeah,
all right, go ahead, buddy.
Look, forgive me, everybody who cares, but the fact that the New England Patriots are back in the Super Bowl, and by the time
No, this will come out tomorrow.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
good. So we don't know by the time this releases. But I just can't stand it, man. You're a Bills fan.
Yep, it's a hard knock life.
And
for us,
I happen to be a unfortunate Dolphins fan. I also love the Green Bay Packers, but my number one true team is the Dolphins.
Right.
Larry's married to a Bills Mafia wife,
God.
from Buffalo, Buffalo born. So she has a reason to be a Bills fan, unlike Trevor.
That's a shot, but that's fine.
But like, all right. Football?
Not really.
No. So you just doesn't matter to you either way.
No.
That's fair.
No.
Nah.
But I was telling my wife, I'm like, if it was the Bills going to the Super Bowl, I would. By the way, Patriots, Bills, Dolphins, and
Jets,
all in the same division.
Yep.
So you kind of don't like each other in your own
100%.
race. I told my wife, I'm like, if the Bills were in the Super Bowl, there's a part of me that would be like, oh, they've earned it. They deserve it. It's been a long, hard road, all the da-da-da-da-da. But the fact that it's the Patriots again, ugh. Now, simultaneously, if it was the Jets, I'd be equally as upset.
Buddy, if it was the Jets, I'd be sackcloth and ashes.
Yeah, it'd be
Are
bad.
you kidding me? The
See, I
Jets?
felt the same way about Houston.
Okay,
So
yeah.
if Houston would have made...
Really?
Because
Yeah.
you're a
'cause
Jags
the
fan.
Oh, Jags, yeah. I think Jags have got some serious potential. And I'm not a Jags fan by any means. I was actually going to text you when Buffalo beat the Jags in the playoffs. I was going to say, hey, tell your staff I said hello. But I had a little bit of wisdom. I was like, I better not do that. For sure.
All right, if the Patriots play the Jags, I'm just not watching. Like, I'm hoping they both lose.
Truth is, I probably won't watch a single thing at the Super Bowl.
Really?
I'm at this weird point in my life where if it's not my team, like to that point, I'm not going to watch it. Yeah. I didn't watch hardly any of the college football playoffs.
I do love football, but
This was a tough playoff season for me.
It was. Oh, I thought you just meant in general.
No, for me.
So you got what? Buffalo?
Yeah. Well, Buffalo beat Jacksonville, so that was a tough weekend, right? And then I jumped on the Buffalo bandwagon only to go down in flames the next weekend.
Yeah.
So,
He was texting me during
in my house twice, 2 weeks in a row.
Man, and y'all were right in the fast too.
Yeah.
Man, you were just before the Lord.
Yes.
I guarantee. All
Well,
right.
I was yelling at my TV like I'm a Bills fan when Josh Allen fumbled that ball at the end of the half.
I was like, what are you
I was losing my mind, and then I'm like, what? Why do I care? I shouldn't care. I was so upset. Yeah, but
I watch it and I'm just like, that's like us. That's like us. And then when we
man, that
fumbled
was
coming
rough.
out of halftime, I literally turned it off and we were texting, which usually I will not respond to people texting me during, but it was you. So I love you.
And I
you're
think
beautiful.
you both would admit, even though I'm not for your teams, I never, like, I'm not, at least I feel like maybe I'm wrong. I'm about to find out. But like, if Patriot fans in our church, I was like, hey, congratulations. You know what I mean?
You're better
like,
than me.
For your
You are
sake,
better than me. I told him to
congratulations.
shut up from the stage. Did
No,
I not? With Michael
I picked
Butnick?
on him from the
Fair.
stage.
He did.
I will,
Yeah,
and
he
I'll pick
does.
on the
Still make
Jags,
fun.
but I care. Like if we're talking Jags, like the fact that he's into it, I'm into it because him. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
Or the
right.
Bills for you, whatever.
Thank you.
I try not to be like a jerk about it, but I don't like those teams.
Yeah.
I guess personally.
Yeah, I try not to be a jerk either.
But
I don't
but
succeed,
You are
but-
anyway.
I mean, it happens, but I'm trying not to. All right, Larry, soapbox. What do you got?
just the fact that I had the soapbox today and I didn't think about it. That's my soapbox.
Nice. Well played, sir. Well played, Dylan.
I've been thinking about it all week and I forgot.
I've been
I'm
preparing
trying
to
to keep
complain all week.
negativity out of my life.
There you go, buddy.
That's good. When you
proud of
started
you.
with the long like sigh, I'm like, here we go. It's coming.
I'm gonna keep a nose though. It was a good idea. And like I think about it all week. I'm like, this is a great soapbox moment.
I just
Then I
think
forget.
like, what is the most first world problem I have that I'm complaining about?
Exactly.
That's literally like,
That's
that's
what
where
it
my
is. That's
mind
what it
goes. Like, all right, what's the most first in mind was property taxes because I'm like, oh gosh,
Right.
oh, then I'm wanting a resurgence and all that kind of stuff. So anyhow, you want to tell us why we have this beautiful man?
So yeah, I'm pretty excited. because Larry is. I
Y'all
know.
get so weird about the word beautiful.
Well, we're a bunch of men.
And I'm the oldest man in the room. I mean,
I use that word a lot actually.
Thank you.
What's
Anyhow.
that?
I use that word a lot. Even just
Beautiful?
normal things. Like 'cause I do
Alright.
something, I'm like, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's a
don't
little
know.
different, but okay. Like that doesn't bother me at all. But
should look
another
into
man
the
referring
posture
to
of
me
your
as
heart,
beautiful, I'm
right?
like,
Hey, I've
it's
said it
a
on
little
here
uncomfortable.
every single time I text him. Hey, beautiful.
Yeah.
Good morning, beautiful, with the kissy emoji. Am I lying?
no. The fact that you will say that, and people,
I'm that confident. Anyhow, why is this beautiful man?
so I am excited. Larry is on our staff and is one of the most important members of our church family. I guess, if you will, in the decision-making way. He's like number 2, and so he oversees operations, all of our budgeting. We sit in tons and tons and tons of meetings and planning and strategy and all of that good stuff. We become great friends over the last handful of years. And I always say one of my favorite brags about Larry is that he always asks the right questions. Like he asks questions that they just demand answers, if that makes sense. I mean, I know that sounds like, well, why else would you ask a question? But he does a really good job of not letting us get like ambiguous about talk that really goes nowhere. So he'll point it into like these questions where it's like, all right, we got to start making a plan. If we say we want a thing, we got to make a plan to go make the thing happen. Well, how does that happen? So kind of, for lack of a better term, reverse engineering. Well, if this is said destination, great. And we're here. How do we go from there
Right.
to here? And so anyway, in our church, we're making this push right now about serve team and serving and making a difference. And we really at Church on the Rock, and I recognize, by the way, there's a lot wider audience than just our church, but I would encourage you to lean in, because even if you're in a different church, in a different country for that matter, this conversation matters. Serving matters. It's something that God calls us to do. It's part of kingdom effort and kingdom work. And so I still think this can benefit you. But we work hard to set a serve culture at our church. And so we've done that a couple of ways. One, probably the most, I don't know what the right word would be for it, but during the COVID era, we, like a lot of churches, closed our doors for a measure of time. And then we reopened our doors, and we're down here in Florida too. So we almost, like Florida participated in COVID a lot less than a lot of places in the world. And so we were probably back to gathering faster than a lot of people across, at least the nation, I know. And so we reopened our doors, and we see all these people start coming back, but not all these people coming back to serve. And so we're watching, you guys know, like the 80-20 rule, like 20% of the people do 80% of the work. And there's sort of this thing where people are like, well, that's just the way it goes. And for us, we're like, not here. You know what I mean? Like it's an all in thing. Anyway, to not make this story too long, we reclosed our church to reestablish a serve team. Like, no, we're not gonna, we didn't want to feed a consumeristic mindset, and it upset people. And there was a little exodus from Church on the Rock in that season, and people just were going where they could gather. Look, on one hand, I get it, respect it, no problem. On the other hand, it was like, yeah, but we have a culture, and we're just going to protect that, like, culture. And then fast forward, now again, a lot of what Larry does is we measure things like, well, how if we say groups matter, how many people are in groups? Okay, and if that is not the number we're wanting, if we're not reaching the goals, then how do we internally create pathways that get people to see the value of groups and why we, et cetera, serve team, giving, all those metrics. So recently, when we looked at, our church has been numerically growing, and we looked at those percentages, and it was low, what we would call dangerously low. So anyway, we've been making this push that, hey, for a lot of you, it's your time, it's your season. Get in the game and serve with us. And then we'll probably talk about this a ton, like the benefits of that. So I'll hold that for now. There's so much benefit in serving. Anyway, as we are talking about it internally, I thought about Larry and just his story and the way that we start out with this introduction of our friendship, how much time we get to spend together, and then the way we operate and work together, and then really the amount of influence he has in all things Church on the Rock. But that is not where he started. And so I just was like, man, what if you just come on the show and let's just talk about your story and hope that people can pick up from this, like how this might speak to them and how they can go serve and make a difference. And so that's why I thought having him on the show.
So let's start there with your story. How did you end up at Church on the Rock? How do you, like, even in that time, I was curious, because I don't know, like with the whole COVID, that whole season or era, however you put it, how much were you playing a part of that? Like, just kind of, because for me, even sitting here, I'm incredibly ignorant to the whole story. I know how much you do, or that I see, or if something has to be done, I know it's usually I'm talking to Larry and Lauren. It's usually the two that's going to, if I'm like, all right, something needs to happen, that's who I'm having a conversation with. So kind of just give us a little bit of that background.
Yeah. So I'll kind of pick my story at midstream, right? I mean, we all have long stories, but 2018 was probably the darkest season of my life. I just went through some significant changes. I'd lost my job. My marriage was falling apart, and it was on its way out. Broken relationship with my kids. Everything came crashing down at one time. And God began doing a thing in me. And part of my redemption story is driving Uber. I was driving Uber full time.
Really?
Yep, full time. So I'd been an executive.
I'd like to hear some good stories on that.
Got some crazy stories. Right, but
well, at one point you were like, you got some sort of recognition by Uber. What was that? Remember? It was like,
it was just number of rides. Yeah, it was just crazy number of rides that I'd given in a month or something. So I got a jacket or whatever. But anyway, so it was just,
dude, we should do podcast jackets. Anyhow, sorry, go ahead.
So anyway, so it was just this season of my life, right? And God began doing just this reformative work inside of me. I was telling Pastor Juan and I were on our way to a men's retreat this weekend, and I was sharing a little bit about my story, and I was like, I feel like Job, right? That I literally lost everything, and hit that bottom point in my life and could look back and it's like, it's all gone, and I'm 50 something years old. And it's like, I literally have nothing to show for my entire life, and then I surrendered it all to God. I was always 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but I finally surrendered it all to him. And now I'm in the greatest season of my life. He's restored everything and more. But anyways, during coming out of that season, I know Pastor Josh talks about how COVID was a horrible season for him and for the church. 2020 was a great year for me because God's doing this thing inside of me. But I had literally come to Church on the Rock for the first time the week before the world shut down.
Oh, wow.
So I had attended once. I'm like, yes, this is my home. I just connected right away. I just felt like this is where I'm going to be home at church. And then the door shut, right? And so it goes online.
Welcome home.
Yeah. Go home. Exactly. So I start watching online, and he talks about church opening back up. So super excited to get back in church, and then it shuts down again. We did Freedom in Christ. I think it started when it opened back up. And then I was in a group with Pastor Josh. So that was my first connection with him on a personal level. So we were doing this life group together.
And y'all don't know each other at the time.
No.
Yeah, this is basically how we met. And so Freedom in Christ, if your listener is it's like a class that we do for people. It's an intentional look on the inside. Like, hey, I know that I need freedom from something. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be some big, huge thing.
Right.
It's just, hey, there's always something. And that's how we met. We got a ton of criticism for that because there was like 60 something people that were attending that. And there's all these different groups within a bigger group. Right. And we started getting nicknamed, it was the COVID group. And there was this COVID breakout again. I mean, we took a ton of heat for trying to open the doors and help people find freedom. Yeah, but it is how Larry and I met.
It's funny now.
Looking back.
But in the moment,
it was a real deal.
That was real.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't know how long. Anyhow, so it's funny now. At the time, I remember us standing outside of Great Clips and having conversations during that season and all that kind of stuff. Anyhow, so go ahead.
Yeah.
So we're in Freedom. So the church opens back up, and then we get into January and we do 21 days of prayer and fasting. Now, I grew up in a Baptist church. Fasting was never part of the equation.
Right.
Never fasted in my life. Right. And because I'm driving Uber at the time, I'm eating one meal a day. So I get home at night, I have a meal. That's it. Right. And so you just get used to it. It's just
speak for yourself, brother. Speak for yourself.
Just becomes your rhythm, man. Trust me. So anyways, we go into fasting and Pastor Josh is encouraging people. He never tells anybody what to fast. But he's like, I'll just say, if it doesn't hurt, it's probably not your best. And I'm like, well, dang. What can I fast? What more can I give up?
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, well, I'll give up the one meal I have. So I literally, my first fast was a 21-day water fast. And I was all in, right? And so probably lost 50 pounds in those 3 weeks.
Wow. And who knows how many people you were Ubering you lost? You don't even remember.
Exactly. There were a lot of naps that last week, I'll tell you. So, anyways, we go through this one. So during this season of 21 days of prayer and fasting, I had continuously been told that, man, if you lean into the fast and you lean into the prayer, and back then we were doing prayer services every night.
Right, yeah, that's right.
I will say that I don't know that I could do a 21-day water fast again because we're not doing those daily prayer meetings. That literally was the only way I survived.
Wow.
Got through that. But everybody had told me, look, man, if you just lean in, you'll hear from the Lord. You'll get this big vision, whatever. He's going to give you some revelation. And I'm like, okay, I'm all in, right? I am all in. I've already told you I surrendered. So every night I'm praying, I'm like, Lord, I'll do whatever. Send me to China as a missionary. I'll go, right? There's nothing holding me back anymore. 20 days of silence. And I'm like, okay. But I'm still showing up every day. So that last night in the prayer service, I'm just sitting there and I'm pleading. I'm like, okay, I haven't heard anything. And it was just like a faint whisper that I heard. And the Lord said, just serve.
Wow.
Just serve. So that's what I've done ever since, ever since.
So that's this word from God to him. And again, I'm just getting to know him through a life group that we're in. And look, I love people. So it's easy for me to be like, Larry's awesome. You know what I mean? It's just the way I'm built. So he does. He just starts serving on the serve team. And
What team did you start on?
good question.
I was on the setup team on Sunday, but it was
How you gonna be on the setup team when y'all have a building?
We're the most portable, permanent.
Oh,
church
really?
you've ever
Oh, okay.
seen
I thought
ever.
you just took a little like it's already set up. I'm on this team.
Yeah,
My
we
bad.
had
That's
tents.
hilarious.
We were setting up tents and stuff. I mean,
Oh,
there was,
okay.
Yeah, we had.
My bad.
There
I'm
was,
an
there
idiot.
was a
That's
little
on
bit of Sunday, but that was just Sunday. But I mean, even during the week, it's like anything that needs to get done, just let me know. So Tuesday morning prayer service, chairs needed to be put out. I'd put chairs out. The collective met a few times, right? And so I'd come put chairs up and put tables out and then clean up afterwards, whatever needed to get done, right?
Yeah.
It's just, I'm here to serve.
So that's just his thing, right? Just serve. So he does. Well, then what starts happening is there starts to be this like buzz about Larry around everybody. So all these team leads are like, I'm going to recruit Larry. I'm going to see if I can get Larry on my team. Well, about the time this is happening, he's really starting to elevate into my awareness. So it's like I'm getting to know him personally because of this group that we're in. I'm getting to know him increasingly because he's at whatever. Right. He's there on Sunday. Like every Sunday. He was doing collective stuff. He's just showing up. So this like relationship and friendship starting to deepen and strengthen. And so about the time all this buzz is like, Larry, I was like, I'm not even going to act like this is not true. In my head, I'm like, I know who's in charge and I get Larry. I am going to win this one. And so
I'm not using my vote very strongly on other things, but this one, for sure.
And so I don't know if the next step exactly was inviting you into some meetings.
No, we went to, we got invited to go to the Grow Conference.
That's what it was.
Me and Cynthia, I don't know, there was a bunch of us that went.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Because I think this would be super valuable to the listener. You said, hey, whatever you need. I've been in church a lot, and I've heard a lot of people say that. How did you execute it, though? Like, how did it become, does that make sense?
It's a great question. I mean, it's just having eyes and having ears, right? I didn't wait to be asked or wait to be told.
You're right.
Right? It's just you see something, you go do it, right? You see trash that needs to be picked up, you go pick it up. You hear, hey, we need to help doing this. I got it.
We got you. It was essentially what I hear you saying is it was see a need, fill a need.
Correct.
Okay.
Very
I just think that's just a really, there's so many people, and I know you've heard this. I'm sure you've heard it now being on staff and stuff, but, spoiler. Did we say he was on staff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh man. But you like, hey, whatever you need. Like the amount of times we've heard that and it's like, okay.
Yes.
But
there's
I
a
love
difference
that
between someone saying it and someone really
doing it. Yeah, 100%.
I also think too that the personality matters too, and some people just need will do it. They just need to be pointed in a direction or whatever.
But I love that you just saw a need and filled a need.
Yeah. So he's ambitious and he's got this awareness. Well, at some point in this journey, he and I are having a conversation, and he's like, do you know what I used to do? Because I knew he was an Uber driver. Like that's just how I knew him. He's Larry, the Uber driver who's serving, and he's in my group, right? So I think by now our group was over, but again, we were serving together and had established a good friendship and all this. And at some point, and you can speak into this as much as you recall, but he's like, do you know what I used to do? And I was like, well, no. Well, then come to find out, and again, you'll articulate this better, but like he's not an Uber driver. He is a 27-year guy at Citibank who has overseen huge budgets, hundreds of people, and he's just the most unassuming Uber driver moving chairs around.
What is this, undercover boss? But
yeah, that's what it sounds like that.
Yeah, what it sounds like.
And so then that, because of our friendship, and maybe it was it like a permission from the Lord? Do you think a point to say that, or how do you even recall how that?
Yeah, I don't. It just seemed natural in the conversation.
Yeah,
I don't even remember the conversation we were. I remember having that conversation. I don't remember the context around it.
Yeah,
and so why it seemed right. But
I think it was me talking to him about things, and he starts giving me a little like insight or thought, consideration type stuff. And then in that conversation, he was like, do you know what I used to do? And I'm like, well, no. And then that's when it started to come out. And I was just like, man, this guy knows how to like manage. He knows how to people and resources.
Right.
He's a veteran in a way. And I need that. Like his strength is a lot of places that I'm not nearly as strong or completely weak in. It's a little of both. And so at a point, we started inviting him and a couple others into some pretty important meetings that we were having each week. And so he is now showing up to these weekly meetings that were a couple hours long, and he's losing money. Every time he's not driving somebody somewhere, he's not making income. And he's giving that to the Lord by sitting in these meetings, and we're getting this valuable input from him, and he's getting privy to information, that not just anybody has, and he's on the inner talkings of like how everything gets done. And so we were at this point where we're going to move over to St. Augustine High School because really we still are too big for our building,
Right.
But we make it work. And so we're going to go over to St. Augustine High School. This was a huge, very expensive. It was the most expensive thing we'd really ever done as a church.
Wow, at that point.
And so it was,
Like I
what's
said,
that?
At that point.
At that point. Yeah.
He's like,
Not anymore. But back then,
Go
for
a long
sure.
way.
And so to get the long story short, we're sitting in this meeting, and at this point he had been in these meetings, so he was pretty comfortable to. And I'm like, if you're sitting at the table, like if we ask you to be there, it's because we want your voice, your ear, your thoughts. This is not accidental. And so he's becoming very comfortable asking the questions and speaking into things, whatever. And at one point, it's like one of the craziest things ever. We're sitting there, and there's 8-ish people sitting around this table. And I have this volunteer showing up to meetings and serving. And I just point across the table, and I was like, you're in charge of getting us to St. Augustine High School. And so and I mean, I don't know what he was thinking or feeling in the moment, but I knew we are not going to do this successfully if Larry doesn't take point.
wow.
We're not going to get there. We'll get there. We're going to fail there. And so I gave the most radical, most expensive thing, like the biggest change, that wholesale change we'd ever made in my leadership. I gave it to a guy as a volunteer. And that really, I think, became the beginning of what it all is right now. And for him to even take that on, it was an audacious thing to say. Let me tell you.
Yeah, because what if he was like, no?
Well, he could have.
I was thinking I asked one too many questions.
Here's how I should have held a few of those back.
Yeah. And so here you fast forward to today.
Right.
And Church on the Rocks is, anything I'm saying is not to be a brag. Okay. We operate on the largest budget we've ever operated on. We have the largest staff that we've ever had. I mean, our budget doubled 2 years running, doubled. And Larry has, total decision-making power over large sums of money, directional things. Now, granted, we all have meetings. We have a board of trustees. So nobody can independently just go run around and make big, expensive decisions. We all know the boxes and boundaries we're allowed to, that we have to work in. But, and still he'll move a chair. He'll plunge the toilet. There's nothing he won't do. And I always think of that statement, never be too important to do important things. And I just think that Larry lives that in front of us all the time. So it's easy for me to entrust the big things to him because I see him do the little things as long as I've known him, and there's a value. It's serving. He's on staff now. He's got a title, and he's seen. He speaks with a microphone on the platform on a consistent basis. People, they know him. You know what I mean? Like the thing, and still that heart never changed. I'm just here to serve. What does it take? What do we need? How can I help? And so I think that's why I was like, let's talk about it, because it isn't only that we've been benefited by him, but he's been benefited by us. Like it's this, and when we serve, there's just this powerful thing that God does in all that. I don't know. Any thoughts you want to?
Well, no, I was just going to say, even being on staff and being in the role that I'm in, God never said to me, be on staff, be the number 2 guy. God never said that. God said, just serve.
Just serve.
And so being on staff is just another opportunity to serve. It's just a different role. It's just a different opportunity. So
yeah.
Let me. You're about to say something.
Go ahead.
A couple of things you said earlier. COTR has this serve culture, and that was really this saying that was pushed. Obviously, your first Sunday there, and then the world shuts down, all that kind of stuff. You're pushing coming out of that. I remember the board. Am I right on this? Y'all had like the green, yellow, red, something like that. So I remember that kind of stuff. When y'all say, I would love to hear how both of you would describe this. We'll start with you, Larry. When you say, hey, COTR has a serve culture, like how would you describe that?
It's just everybody just leans in and does what needs to get done, right? I mean, I come from a Baptist background, and there were volunteers. Like we had we called them ushers, right? We wore jackets,
Dude, the red jacket.
Exactly, the red jackets, right? Yes, exactly. So I was an usher, right?
Oh,
that was
man.
So we had 15, 20 volunteers.
38 regular?
Yeah,
what are you, jacket?
42, man. I used to work out.
Okay, well, forgive me. I was just trying to imagine you in that jacket. That's all. All right, go ahead.
So anyways, I mean, that was the background I was in, right? But at Church on the Rock, I mean, even when I was first there, it's like everywhere, everybody back in the day wore green T-shirts.
Yeah.
Right? Green serve T-shirts. They were everywhere, right? I'm like, so the church, ever since I've known Church on the Rock, right, has just survived on this volunteer army. When we were at the high school, I mean, there's, I don't know, 150 people serving on a Sunday, one capacity or another, right? Well, you can't do church. You take all that away, you can't do church the way we do church today. Even back on our campus now, it's less intensive than a lot of our serves. But some serves us more. Like it's a bigger strain on our parking team, right? Being back on our campus. So, it's just that volunteer workforce, that volunteer army that we have, and it is cultural, and it's his heart, right? I mean, that's just how he's ever since I've known him. I mean, it was already that way when I showed up. I mean, I can't take any credit for the culture whatsoever.
How do you or do you want to answer and then I'll ask my next part? Because it's kind of follow up to that.
What's that?
It's just, how do you cultivate that then? How do you make sure it stays healthy? We've all been in volunteer organizations where it can turn toxic, and it's like you're doing great work, but everybody's irritable. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've seen that more times than I'd like to admit. How do you cultivate the health of that? Not that every Sunday everyone's just gonna be chipper and wonderful and everything. Like that's just unrealistic. Or maybe I shouldn't speak for COTR. I'll speak for Champion. I'll look in this camera. You know. There are some Sundays, man. It was everyone's. Dylan knows he's there from open to close on a Sunday.
Trying to set up my drums,
and then there's just I don't know. Anyhow, let me get this soapbox back out.
That's awesome.
But how do you cultivate just that healthy, positive? Everyone's in because we know it's moving the ball down the field culture.
Well, I think it starts with him, right? So he consistently carries that message, right? And he's a servant leader. I mean, he talks about me, but Josh is the same way. I mean, we moved to the high school. He's pulling trailers every Sunday. Right. Every Sunday. I'm like, Josh, you got to stop pulling trailers, man. But he won't stop, right? Because that's just his heart. Anything needs to get done, he's going to get done. Sunday, we come in, we have all kind of plumbing problems because of.
I saw that on the stream. All the pipes are frozen.
All the pipes are frozen, right? He's right in the middle. Now, he wasn't problem solving, but he was on, he was in the loop on everything that was going on. I mean, so that's just Pastor Josh's heart, right? So it starts with that. So he sets the tone, he speaks to it from the platform. It's rhythmic, whatever. right? But I think the other thing about it is it's keeping the main thing, right? It's why do we serve? We don't. You're not serving for the church, right? You're serving for the Lord.
That's it.
Right? And you're serving for yourself because what God's going to do
100%
through the serve, right? And so if you keep people focused on that, then that prevents the toxicity from creeping in.
Yeah, we're not perfect, right? So so any
For
listener
sure.
out there that's not a part of our church, you're like, oh my gosh, it's like, look, I'm sure there are people like burnout. We've seen it happen to team members. I'm sure that not 100% of our team showing up on Sundays all like giddy. I'm sure of that.
Show me
right?
how that goes one more time.
Giddy. And so a couple of things is we continually work on how do you better care for the team? How do we make it a joy to serve here? How do we make sure they're seen and valued, appreciated? And I think I have a couple of thoughts in terms of culture. And one is culture is what you create and allow. So you have to create, and culture is like you have a culture, whether you know that or not.
Yes.
That could be your home, business, anything.
Everywhere.
That's exactly
everywhere
right.
that you go has a culture.
And culture really is more like what you are as a person or an organization. Like it's what you are. And so creating that culture, one thing's for sure is that I personally cannot verbalize and express my gratitude to our serve team enough. I wish, I'm good with words and wish I could better articulate what they mean to me. And I try my best to hit some rhythmic comments like the vision that God put in my heart is impossible without you.
Yes.
Like I want them to know that we need you to accomplish what God has asked of us because you're us. So there's not some like, well, we're staff, which makes us top tier, and you're no. Like we're just all on the same field, playing the same game with the same agenda, and so seeing their value is truly like that is my heart. And so I read. I have a couple of thoughts here. I could probably talk a few minutes on this, but like I read a book.
It's your show. Go for it.
A long time ago. It's a leadership book. It was written by a couple of Navy SEALs, and it was about a battle, a time that they were in Ramadi, Iraq, and it's known as the Battle of Ramadi. And so these Navy SEALs, the book's Extreme Ownership, if you're curious. And so Jocko Willink, he's known, he's a podcaster, and Leif Babin, right? They co-authored this book, and they're giving these stories. And anyway, to get to the point, these awesome stories about how to really take the ownership of being an actual leader. And essentially the idea is that like you can make excuses if you want, but you're the leader. So if something goes wrong, it's you. Fix it. And so that's a recap. You don't have to read it. It's long, but it's a good read. It's one of my favorite books I've ever read.
And the audiobook is very good.
Yeah, because they read it.
Yeah.
And dude, when they're raspy, like,
dude, I felt like I was there. It's a really good audio. I think it is one, it's really good.
One of my favorite books I've ever read, for sure.
Very good book.
But there's this time in it, and you might remember this, where they start talking about the Army Rangers and the MARSOC guys, which is like the Marine Special Forces guys. And they start talking about how like they're the most trained, these Navy SEALs. And we're talking about SEAL Team 6. That is like the best of the best. They're the most trained, most equipped, most informed to go do this mission, task, whatever. And then alongside of them are these MARSOC, Ranger, and other soldiers that are literally dying on the line to advance this mission. And Leif and Jocko talk about their admiration for these guys. It's like, we have the best resources, training, like we expect to go into that. And this is not a shot. They're not taking a shot at MARSOC or Rangers. They're just saying that like these guys are willingly coming alongside of us in the most dangerous city in the world against the most threatening enemy ever. And they're choosing that to support what we're trying to achieve. And they just talked about this heightened like respect and appreciation for those guys. That is exactly how I feel about the serve team. Cause it's like, I have the training and I'm the pro.
Right.
But here you are with soccer practice and the kids and the job and the grocery shopping and the car broke down and the thing. And here you are alongside of me you know what I'm saying? Like the value, I cannot emphasize the value that we see. It's not just Josh, that we see in our teammates, which is exactly how we see them. And then so that's one thing is value. Just, I wish I could buy them all every one of them a cruise or something, just say every year and just be like, go enjoy, rest on us because you're awesome. You know, another thing too is what you allow. And so look, I've been pretty hard on myself about the COVID season and all that stuff. I wish I'd have known things and done some things different and all that stuff. But one thing, I don't know, it gets some mixed reviews depending on who you ask. But when we shut the church down for the second time, there was a reason. And I made that decision in a very small circle of input. And I didn't ask a ton of people. And I was at the tip of the spear saying, we're shutting these doors because we're not going to allow consumerism to creep in here. That's essentially, I was protecting a culture. That's when we did. So I made 26 phone calls. 24 people said yes to me. And my phone calls were, hey, you've been so faithful with the ushers. Would you be willing to help me rebuild the usher team? And this is what it will take. So I gave them my expectations for this role. 26 calls, 24 yeses. We then re-looked at all the served teams. Do we need all these teams? You know, and we use this term, credit to my brother-in-law, we use this term French fry cookers. And here's how we would do it. Like, if you're going to go to McDonald's, you don't necessarily need somebody to hold the door for you, but you need somebody cooking French fries. So what serves
I can get behind
to happen, you know? So we cut a few teams.
Right.
That in this season, we're not even doing that. What matters? Where's the French fry cooking happening? What do we have to have? And so we relaunched with 20-something teams. We're probably back up to 30-something now at individual. Yeah. But it was 20-something teams. And then we created the scoreboard. We had every team. We had red, yellow, and green. If you were red, we could not open the doors because your team is red and we care about your team. So it's not, I don't care about my team. We care about the team. If you're yellow, that means, all right, we can go if we need to go. If you're green, you're just doing awesome. And then we only invited back people that would join the team. So the only people that we would let come back to the building for a season were people serving. So 100% of our church in-person attendance was agreeing to make a difference. And then once we went to, and we had a scoreboard sort of way that we did it. Once we said, okay, that like we're good enough to go. It didn't have to necessarily all be green, but there was, I don't recall, but there was a ratio of, it's a thumbs up. Then we opened the doors to everybody else. And that was just a strong forward way of saying, we have a culture here, we're going to protect it.